Rematch in Atlanta. This is the DawgNation Invasion of the SEC Championship game. Brought to you by Kroger, Dr. Pepper, Academy Sports and Outdoors, R.S. Andrews, and Atlanta Sports Trips. Now live from Mercedes-Benz Stadium, here's Brandon Adams.
Hello, DawgNation. Welcome into our DawgNation Invasion tailgate. We are just steps away from Mercedes-Benz Stadium, like literally. I can see it right there. And you know what? Here on this, what is this, the first Saturday in December, second Saturday in December? I got to say, the weather's pretty good. It's been freezing cold for the last few days, but you couldn't ask for a much better occasion for this DawgNation Invasion tailgate, powered by our friends at Atlanta Sports Trips, as Georgia gets ready for the rematch against Texas, looking to win this game again. Matt will obviously get into the actual outcome. I obviously have Matt Chernoff here. You know him from 680 The Fan and our friends at Atlanta Sports Trips. But let's start with this. What an unbelievable tailgate experience. Georgia fans having a great time. Obviously, we live in a different age now with the college football playoff, the expansion, and the outcome of tonight's game is going to have a lot of, I think, interesting, wrinkles when the actual field's announced tomorrow. But for now, prior to the game, this feels like an SEC championship of old.
No, I agree, right? Road to Atlanta is kind of how this is being sold, right? The first step in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz, hopefully in a month, it's back at Mercedes-Benz one more time. I think the one thing we know, and you know this better than I do, there's no more passionate fan base who will travel, who will show up, who will, even in a game that we know does not mean what it used to mean, right? Although there's always the fear that if you lose, the playoff committee does something weird. To show up that way, it still speaks volumes of the passion of this fan base.
You talk to people who've already been in the stadium on Thursday and Friday when they're getting all the sponsors together and getting the field painted. It is weird seeing that burnt orange logo on the other side. It is weird seeing Texas here. We all traveled there. Many of us did back in October for that game. And so we've had our time to kind of make peace with this and get used to it. And yet in the SEC Championship, if you'd have told me years ago we'd hear Kirby Smart and Steve Sarkisian talking about this as an SEC Championship game, there is a certain surreal aspect to all of that, right?
Oh, I agree. First of all, to have Texas in its first year here, it's this weirdness, right? There's the OG SEC teams who don't want to let this newbie come in and have their say-so in year number one. Oklahoma would be a part of this, but they're not very good. But to have Texas, who the night Georgia went to Austin and frankly got bullied, right? That was some old school SEC. Kirby loved that style of game. If you gave Kirby two options, you could throw the ball over the lot and win 40-10, or do it the way Georgia did. Carson didn't play great. The offense took a while to get going, but they dominated the line of scrimmage. If that's the way the game goes again today, I think Georgia's in great shape because we have to see if Texas can stand up to the bully.
Of course, this is Matt Chernoff, your number 680 The Fan. Obviously, Atlanta Sports Trips powering our DawgNation Invasion events here this year. Also, perhaps a chance for more of that. We'll talk about that here in a moment. Let me also thank some great sponsors that have made this DawgNation Invasion possible. Our road to Atlanta beginning today, and hopefully, as Matt said, culminating back here in this same spot for the national championship game later on in January. Of course, Atlanta Sports Trips, Dr. Pepper, that's flowing at the SEC championship. You know that. Academy Sports and Outdoors, Kroger, and R.S. Andrews. In fact, our buddy Dari Pero from R.S. Andrews, we're going to hear from him coming up in just a moment. So let me do a couple of rapid-fire things with you here for a moment, because obviously at this point in time, everybody has sort of, talked this to death, and people want to enjoy the tailgate. Starting with this. Georgia winning the way that it did, do you think that should make Georgia fans more confident in a game like this, that you're playing a team that you have beaten? Keep in mind, Georgia really hasn't played that way against almost anybody else for most of this year.
So the question becomes, have they played up and down to competition, or has it just been this inconsistency that really none of us brain can get a handle on? Because we've never seen Georgia play this level. And maybe it's a lack of depth, maybe it's too much success. I don't know. I would say don't be overconfident, right? You know this like I do because there have been so many questions. But I would feel a level of confidence knowing what happened in Austin that night. I don't know if it's replicable in the same kind of way because I think Texas is going to play better. But the one thing we know is if Georgia plays that way at the line of scrimmage and Texas they have some O-line injuries and some things to worry about, I think maybe the score is a little closer. I still think Georgia, the fact that they're an underdog surprised me when the line came out, because I think they're the better team. I like the way Carson's playing, but I still think at the line of scrimmage, Georgia's the better team.
Let me touch on that. One area in which you could maybe say Georgia is better from the last time is Carson Beck did not throw a touchdown that night against Texas. He has played a much better brand of football. In fact, he's had, 13 touchdowns since the game against Texas. He now leads the SEC in touchdown throws in the season. you can make a case that he is certainly playing his best football right now and a far better quarterback than he was back in Austin. Do you think that replicates itself today?
I hope so, right? What we've seen, I don't need him to have gaudy numbers. Just limit the mistakes. Last 3 games, 11 touchdowns, no interceptions. And I don't know if a light went on when he had that moment against Tennessee where he pulled the ball down, ran, drilled a Tennessee defender, and from that point, it almost looked like a different kind of guy. I don't know if it's just them beating into his head. Let it loose, let it fly, let it. Now, he's still got to worry about the guys catching the football, right? But the last 3 games, he's looked like so much more of the guy we saw a year ago. I hope that transfers over today, and as long as the O-line gives him enough time, I don't see any reason why it should be the mistake-prone Carson. Again, I don't need 330 yards, just not the mistakes. I think he's in good shape.
Do you expect to see a healthy dose of Arch Manning today? To me, that's a really fun storyline. I'm assuming he probably does play more. He obviously had a touchdown against Texas A&M. I also think that Sark's the kind of guy that sort of dangles Arch Manning in your face and then does something creative with Quinn Ewers. I'm sort of on guard as a Georgia fan who really wants his team to win today. I'm sort of on guard for it all, but I do somehow, some way expect to see more of Arch Manning this time around.
If it doesn't happen, Sark has some questions to answer. The weirdness of what happened in the first game was at the time when he put Arch in, right, and pulled Quinn Ewers, because everybody, like, again, for Georgia fans, we don't pay attention to this, but in Texas, it's a huge thing every week. Arch, Quinn, Arch, Quinn. If they don't use Arch in several ways today, something's wrong, because we know the theory about Georgia having trouble with mobile quarterbacks. So if it's a red zone, if it's a short yardage, like you said, if it's just eye candy, there's no reason they shouldn't have him on the field. If they don't, Sark's got to answer to that postgame.
So obviously Atlanta Sports Trips have been powering our DawgNation Invasion events all year long. We started in Atlanta for the big game against Clemson. Obviously went to Tuscaloosa. That didn't go so well. The trip to Austin, though, was outstanding. And now we're back here for the SEC Championship. And as a sports travel company, I know you're really excited, too, about the next phase of the college football playoff, where if Georgia wins this game today, the stakes could not be higher. It's a chance to be in New Orleans for the first round of the playoff and maybe a trip again after that, but certainly going to New Orleans for that classic Sugar Bowl matchup. Be the first really big Sugar Bowl that Georgia's played in a long time. The last couple of times Georgia's gone there have kind of been the consolation prize game. From a travel standpoint and Georgia fans going on the road and getting ready to do this, how exciting is it to think that if you win today, you punch your ticket for one of the great weekend cities, one of the great sports, big event cities, the great destinations there? How much fun could all of that be?
Oh, I think it's a home run. If you think about it, anyway, if somebody's been to New Orleans, they know how fun it is. Have you been to New Orleans for a New Year's experience? And that's what this would be. As I go into salesman mode, I don't have to sell that. New Orleans, Georgia on New Year's Day, New Year's night, to have that being a quarterfinal, it's perfect. It's like literally the perfect storm. Easy to get to, fun city, Bourbon Street, the quarter, New Year's Eve, and then the game the next night. We'll have a big New Year's party. We'll have a big tailgate game day. Now, I don't think it gets better than that. And then you turn your attention to maybe a win there, and you're going to Miami or going to Dallas 10 days later, and then maybe you're right back here. I think it's going to be a fun 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, the stakes could not be higher. As Matt said, Road to Atlanta starts today, the SEC Championship. We're hoping it concludes here in January for the National Championship. Matt, you do a great job on the radio, 680 The Fan, Atlanta Sports Trips. Thanks for helping power these DawgNation Invasion events for us all year long.
It's been fun. We appreciate it.
Good stuff there from Matt Chernoff, a part of our DawgNation Invasion tailgate. We're having a great time. The Road to Atlanta t-shirts just behind me over here. Also, another celebrity sighting. How about Kaylee Manziel joining us here right now? Kaylee getting ready for her DawgNation Game Day pregame show. Going to be here on the scene there as well. Kaylee also comes bearing gifts. Not a gift for me, because she would never do that, but a gift perhaps for you.
That's not true.
A gift perhaps for all of you from our friends at Jittery Joe's. Now, I say this all the time. One of the cool things about being a Georgia fan is that it becomes much easier to know how to buy stuff for people, because you know this. You got a dad, you got a work dad, you got all kinds of people in your life that, hey, it's sort of hard to know what to get them for Christmas because who knows what anybody wants. But when you have a chance to give the gift of a really cool Georgia commemorative piece like this, it becomes a great Christmas gift, great holiday gift. And that's what our friends from Jittery Joe's have right here. Kaylee, I know you've loved being for your game day pregame show at Jittery Joe's each and every week for the last couple of years. How great tasting is this coffee coffee, and how cool is this commemorative can?
Oh my gosh, first off, the coffee is great. If you don't want to drink the coffee inside of these because you want to keep the cans, the Jittery Joe's K-Cups, I would recommend those. Super easy. They taste really great. But this is one of the things that I have in my house, and then whenever we have people over, everyone's always asking me where I got them from because, I mean, they're so custom, so unique, and we're going to give this away today to somebody that's here at the DawgNation Invasion tailgate. I'm excited to see their reaction, but it's a great Christmas gift. I gave them away last year. Every person that I gave them to loves them and still talks about them. So maybe UGA will have another can to add to the collection after this year, but in case they don't, look, you can get them all here. Check out jitteryjoes.com. You can order some, and I promise the coffee on the inside is just as good as the look on the outside.
So we love our friends at Jittery Joe's. Kaylee's enjoyed being there throughout the last couple of years, and I really do believe that if you want a great Christmas gift, if you can't be here today, have your chance to win it. If you want a great Christmas gift for someone in your life, go to jitteryjoes.com. These commemorative cans, we have one in our studio. We have it on the back wall. I love showing that off and celebrating the great things that George has done, and obviously love that Jittery Joe's coffee. Now, Kaylee, while I got you here for a moment, give me your thought on the scene here right now. First of all, Georgia fans having a good time. The weather's pretty. This is kind of that classic SEC championship environment on the outside before the game, all the way very different version of the SEC championship once you actually, kind of get in there playing Texas. But your overall feeling on things here right now?
Well, it's very rewarding anytime you get to spend the day with Georgia fans, like-minded people that want the same result, and you can tell that everybody feels really good about today's game. There's no anxiousness, no nervousness. Everybody feels good about the game, and that's all that you could ask for. But more importantly, it's so amazing to be able to get to have this experience before the game with people that care so much about Georgia and getting to have those conversations about the game or about the things that you have in common. There's no other feeling to describe it.
Absolutely. So you got an official pick here before you get ready to make your show?
I'm going to take the Dogs, and here's why. Not just because I'm a Georgia fan and I want them to win, but...
That's plenty good enough reason for me, by the way.
Well, think about it. The one game that Texas was down this year, they lost to Georgia. Texas hasn't been in a situation where they've had to fight from behind to come back and win, and Georgia's been in that situation plenty of times. So they fought through the adversity. They know how to overcome the obstacles, and we haven't seen Texas do that all season. So what happens to a team like that when you get down? You blame everyone else around you. So I think that's why the Dogs have the advantage today.
That's a great point. Kaylee, looking forward to seeing you for the game day pregame show coming up, obviously throughout the day. Thanks so much, and check out jitteryjoes.com to get the commemorative can, but also if you're here live, maybe you'll have a chance to win. That is a part of our DawgNation Invasion. We got great sponsors, of course, thanks to Academy Sports and Outdoors, Atlanta Sports Trips, Dr. Pepper, Kroger, and our good friend from R.S. Andrews, Dari Payro, going to stop by here right now. You see him every week as a part of Go With The Flow, making picks and talking about all of that. And Dari, we've kind of reached that championship weekend here. Really one of the most fun times of the year, not just because you get a chance to see Georgia, but also because of the other conference championship games that play out. Playoff field decided tomorrow. How much are you enjoying everything else you're seeing in addition to the SEC championship right now?
Loving it, man. Loving it. I'm actually, if I could change my Go With The Flow pick,
by all means,
I'm going to take Georgia to cover this. I think they're going to win this game. I'm starting to feel it. I think the defense is going to come out. They're going to show out. They're going to be fired up. Great tailgating down here. It's a beautiful day. Blue skies.
Could not be better. So last night we saw Boise State really step out and play very well, not just earning the right to the playoff, but I would imagine a very good shot of earning one of these top 4 seeds. That's obviously what Georgia's playing for right now. At last check, and maybe you can tell me something I don't know, seems like Iowa State, Arizona State, kind of a coin toss game. Seems like that is a little bit of a back and forth game right now. So we're about to see some of these playoff bids start to be sort of salted away here.
Yeah, and I think it kind of builds up through the day all the way into the night game with Clemson and SMU. I think that's probably the biggest game to keep an eye on because that, can open the door for another team to get in, or, Clemson and probably SMU stay in the playoffs. So I think it's a pretty cool, pretty exciting.
The main thing I'm hearing, though, from you, being here just steps away from Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the confidence starting to flow. You get around other Georgia fans, that vibe starts to feel really good. It sounds like you like these Dogs today, which is always a good thing for me to be able to hear. Dari, we appreciate your sponsorship for our DawgNation Invasion, but also fun stuff throughout the year like the R.S. Andrews Cool Down and, of course, Go With The Flow presented by R.S. Andrews. Appreciate that. Enjoy the day today.
Yeah, go Dogs.
Good stuff there from Dari Payro from R.S. Andrews, one of the great sponsors of this DawgNation Invasion event. And so we're here having a great time. We wish you could be here. If you can't do that, maybe at some point in time on our road to Atlanta here for the national championship, perhaps you can. can join us. Hopefully these dogs will keep winning, and hopefully we'll keep getting our chance to enjoy all of that. Stay tuned. Coming up, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Kaylee Manziel will have you for the Game Day pregame show. We'll hear from Davin Bellamy. We'll hear from the entire DawgNation team getting ready for this game against Texas. And then after the game today, I'll see you on the field from Mercedes-Benz Stadium for the DawgNation postgame show, reacting to everything as it goes down. Ultimately, as some of our folks have said here over the course of the last couple of minutes, it seems like this is a situation coming into today where we just know more about Georgia than we know about Texas. They're more battle-tested. They played a harder schedule. They've looked great in big moments. They've also struggled sometimes in challenging situations. Texas has had a much easier run through all of this. No matter what they may say, we know the SEC teams they've been playing. It's not the regular sort of legacy SEC teams, the likes of which of Georgia. Obviously, I don't expect it to maybe be as easy this time as it was back in October, but this is a game that Georgia can win on the backs of Carson Beck and Oscar Delp and some of the guys who've been stepping up for Georgia in recent weeks. And maybe Georgia can find some of that pass rush magic in this spot the same way they had it just a few weeks ago. Either way, we're looking forward to a great day of coverage. Our DawgNation Invasion coming up later on today, our Game Day pregame show. Then after the game for our DawgNation postgame show. Stay close to DawgNation throughout the day and DawgNation.com as well. Enjoy the game, everybody.